Brad, thank you so much for making time for me today. I really appreciate it. How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Yeah, good. For those of you who don't know who you are, haven't mentioned the group yet, could you share your name, your company name, and where you guys are located?
My name is Brad Garnett. My business is in Northwest Arkansas. It's Brown Boys Roofing.
Very good. We're meeting for an excellent reason. You had a superb year last year. You always have a superb year. You're a multi-time crown champion with the roofing part of CertainPath, right? How many years in a row?
Yes, sir. 4 years in a row.
And that's for $1 million in sales, right? Mm-hmm. Excellent. Let's see. Last year you said you did what exactly?
Last year I was about at 1.6.
1.6. That was mostly retail, right? Because you didn't have a lot of.
Yes. It's been pretty much retail. We just haven't had. We had a little storm this year at the first of the year, but yeah, last year was pretty tough.
Yeah, for sure. So you had to really lean on those good sales skills. Well, we're going to talk about how you approach a sales appointment in a minute, but I always like to learn people's personal stories and their journey and how they got to where they are today. Can I share with everyone, how did you get into roofing? Because you originally were from the insurance side, right?
I was. I met the founder of Brown Boys probably 25, 26, 7 years ago.
Yeah.
And of course, I was a large loss property adjuster with a large insurance company. Mm-hmm. And so I retired from them, and I don't know how, but Bill was able to know before I retired, and he started calling me. Mm-hmm. And I kind of joked at him. I said, "Oh, Bill," I said, "you're asking me to be a roofer?"
You're crossing the line.
Yeah. It's like, oh boy, and because you got several other people that aren't real legit companies in that business.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, it was an easy swing over because I'd known Bill and their company for, like I said, 20 plus years, and they were always honest with me. The integrity was there.
So because you got to see it on the other side, you got to see what they're all about.
Sure.
Yeah, that's great. So you come aboard. What was your training process like? I mean, I know you know the roofing part, but there's a rhyme and a reason to the sales process, right?
Sure.
That they teach.
Sure.
So how did you learn that?
I still feel like I'm learning it.
Mm-hmm.
But I came in and Bill kind of got me in the company, and then I went to a school in Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. And then I've also gone to a school in Phoenix. Mm-hmm. So a couple of really good trips and just good information.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. And then just trying to read books and go from there.
And if I'm not mistaken, at Brown Boys, you guys are always training, right? You're always talking about soft skills and how to be better engineers.
Sure. We role play a lot of skills. Mm-hmm. And then we try to meet every day on Zoom calls.
Okay.
Every morning, and we kind of run through our day before.
Yeah.
And good points, bad points.
Yeah.
And just learn from each other. We're a pretty tight crew.
I was going to say, you got a number of crown champions, right? How many is there this year?
We have 4 of our 5.
4 of your 5. That's fantastic. I bet the 5th one's still doing pretty good.
The 5th one just started. He just started last year, and had he had enough time, he would have been here as well.
That's right. What's it like having that many talented people, to work with? Is it competitive or is it more collaborative?
Well, it's both. I mean, we always share what we've done, and so that kind of pumps everybody to, we'll get out there and get more. And so you're always competing. Will's done an amazing job in his leadership and what he does. I mean, we have every month, whoever wins the month, gets a little name on a plaque. Come the end of the year, whoever won the most months, they wind up in wearing a wrestler's belt, if you would.
That's right.
So they got their wrestler's belt every year. So just a lot of good things.
That's awesome. So when you guys are day to day, or do you have like a text thread going if you guys sell something, or you just talk about it every day?
Oh, sure. We have a dream team.
Is that what it's called?
Line. And so we share, goods and bads. We talk, about different things. We're different insurance companies, hey, what are they like? And, do you know this person or that person? And, Yeah.
How many adjusters do you guys typically work with? I mean, do you kind of know the whole roster in your area then?
No.
Understood.
Because you have a lot of catastrophe adjusters that come in.
Sure.
So we pretty much know the locals.
Yeah.
And work with all those guys.
Support for this podcast comes from CertainPath software. CertainPath software is easy to implement in your business. It combines all the tools, systems, and features you need to run a profitable company of any size, from $500,000 up to $200 million. CertainPath software is designed to make every step intuitive, so you and your team can focus on serving customers. Pricing, invoicing, options, materials, job photos, financing options, and more are combined into a single easy-to-use interface. When technology makes the lives of your team easier, you know they'll be focused on what they do best. Discover how CertainPath's field app streamlines the steps your technicians take on each call. Go to www.mycertainpath.com today to learn more.
What's it like working with the Brown boys? I know the Browns for a long time. They seem like great guys, but I don't work with them day to day.
It's a family. Mm-hmm. I mean, I want to say we have 26 now. When I started 4 years ago, we were 9.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've really grown. But where else in the world can you walk in? Every Wednesday morning, we have a meeting of everyone. And the first thing we do is take off our hats and pray.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, where can you do that in America today?
Yeah. And they sure seem to worry about their people and their...
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing they wouldn't do for anybody in the company.
Yeah.
You know?
And I see them working. You guys do a lot of work in the community. I think there was some around holidays.
Absolutely. Well, in April, May, we become Pink Boys for that month. And we donate $20,000 to breast cancer.
Yeah.
And we try to find those companies that 90 or more % of your money actually gets to the people.
Right.
We're also in with Folds of Honor.
Yeah.
And so then we're Camo Boys.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's a good time.
That's neat. That's really neat. All right. Well, let's. I want to dig into your sales process, how you approach, with your appointments day by day. When you get in your truck, get ready to go to your first appointment, how much history, how much research are you doing on the homeowner? And then what do you do to kind of get mentally prepared for that call? What's your process like?
Generally in the mornings, the evenings I will look at my schedule for the next day, and I'll kind of look at the little notes that tell me kind of what's in front of me and what times.
Yeah.
And the next morning, I do most of my stuff early morning.
Okay.
Get up, we have our little family time, and then I'm at the kitchen table probably an hour before I'm needing to leave the house.
Okay.
And I run through in Job Nimbus. I run through any of my tasks that I might have calendared forward and follow up, and kind of plan where I'm going to put those people.
Sure.
And make those phone calls.
Yeah.
And then it's pretty much after that I know where I'm going.
Okay.
And so generally I'll leave my house at 8, and usually my appointments are 8:30, 10:30, 1:30, and 3:30.
There you go. Okay, very good. So when you go to that first call at 8:30, what are you thinking about? Do you just listen to music? Do you not like to listen to anything at all?
Oh, I've already been in the mirror telling myself how great I am. that sort of thing.
Yeah.
You're a good-looking guy, and today's going to be a blessed day. We're going to have an awesome day today.
That's right. So you get yourself pumped up for it.
Oh, sure.
That's great. How do you handle it? Say that 8:30 doesn't close, and you did your best, and boy, they were just a pain. You know what? And you got to go to that next one. How do you kind of shake it off to go to that next one?
Those things can happen to everybody, but you just got to stay. I don't let that affect me. I'm going to be a joyous person every day, and I can't help it if some people are in a bad mood.
Sure.
That doesn't affect me and make me in a bad mood.
Right. Good for you. All right. So let's talk about that first appointment. You pull up to the home, right? You get out of the truck, expedient manner. You walk briskly up to the door.
Now I try to get my card. I already have my card.
Okay. There you go.
And then, I park and try to look at where I'm parking. We park on the street generally.
Yeah.
But I'll get out. The first question is, I'll say, "Hey, Tom," and you'll say, "Hey," and I'll say, "Here's my card." I'm Brad with Brown Boys. Nice to meet you. This is after I've called you about 10 minutes before getting there.
Okay, so you do like to call personally.
I do. I like to call. Our office sends out a little notice saying, hey, your guy's coming, and has a picture of me and my family.
Yeah.
So they feel like they already kind of know that I'm going to be at the door.
Right.
But I just like to touch base with them and kind of my notes that I have, make sure my notes are all correct, that I know what they're really looking for.
And you see that that's that opening conversation over the phone.
Sure.
Okay.
And then when I get there, I can just give you my card.
Yeah.
Hey, I ask them if my car's parked okay.
Yeah.
And then if I'm going inside, I like to find out what kind of time frame they have.
Oh, very good to know if they're rushing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because, some people say, well, I got 30 minutes before my Zoom call. A lot of people working from home.
Yeah.
Well, then I know what kind of time frame we got. Well, how long is your Zoom call, Tom?
Right.
And then you say, well, I got a 30-minute Zoom call. Well, great. I let them know what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And then where I'm going to go next.
Yeah.
And then, after your Zoom call, I'll come back to the door. Okay. And that sort of tactic.
Now, we're not in a rush, and we're just standing there. You just we just have do you offer a sincere compliment? Are there certain questions you like to use as icebreakers?
There's not. I don't have any one thing. I may look around.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because you can kind of tell just from that first interaction. I can tell if Tom's a guy that wants to get it done now and no more time wasted on it.
Yeah.
Or Tom's a guy's going to need a lot of information to be comfortable.
Yeah.
Or Jane's just this super happy person that's going to keep me here all day wanting to talk and visit. They got the cookies ready for you with a cup of milk type of thing.
Yeah, so you change your approach based on that.
A little bit, and then I kind of look around for, they open the door and, you'll see photographs of their family, or you'll see, a deer head on the wall that they're obviously proud of.
Yeah.
Those sorts of things. You might see a boat in the yard, and you try to pick those things. Hey, and I noticed you got a boat out there. That's a nice boat, and I love to fish, if it's a fishing boat, and kind of go from that a little bit.
Right.
But I gotta be careful with how much.
Sure.
And then it's the business after that.
Right. Okay. So when you have to get down to the business, you have to sit down somewhere, or you just kind of do it wherever you're standing, and you don't push it.
I mostly sell from my truck.
Okay.
Believe it or not.
Right.
Because I feel like we're quality, and we're certainly not priced like everyone else in my market.
Right.
And most of the time we're a little higher than even the insurance will pay.
Yeah.
So I like to take them to my truck and let them feel products, let them show them products, let them look at, because I want to know what type of roof system that's going to be best for them.
Right. Right. So what are some of the questions you get into about the roofing system right away? Like, why'd you call us today? Did you kind of talk about what they're?
I've kind of done that on that phone call.
On that phone call.
Yeah, that first phone call.
Okay.
So I kind of know if they got a leak. I'm going to be throwing on the floor savers and going in the house. Okay. After I get to the door.
Yeah.
And then you and I can chat as we go.
Sure.
But if they don't have a leak or anything, hey, I think I might have some hail damage to my roof. Well, then I'm explaining to them what my process is, what everything I'm going to be looking at.
Yeah.
And then generally I'm going back to my truck. Okay.
Sure. Do you talk about how do you give any kind of, we don't call it credibility statement, where you talk about how many years you've been in insurance and roofing at that point, and how Brown Boys is different, or do you save that for later in the call?
It varies.
It varies, right?
It really does. It varies. I mean, some people will notice I always wear a Navy hat.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
I was prior military.
Yeah.
So a lot of people will notice that and ask me about Navy, and and I can find out if they were in the service. Those sorts of things. But as far as mine is kind of, I'm really trying to focus on Tom when I'm at Tom's house.
Yeah.
And his needs.
Right.
And so that's pretty much my approach is what do I need to find out from Tom?
Yeah. Okay.
In order to move forward.
So you have that opening conversation at that point. Is it getting on the roof and checking it out, or Do you have any kind of,
Well,
if you use a roof, you do some asks to measure as well, right? Or what do you guys do around with
we use a roof snap as far as our estimates go.
Yes.
Okay, but we have what I generally do is I'll tell you if you have a leak inside, I'm putting on force savers and let's go look at the leak. Okay, then I identify the leak inside. Then I'm going in their attic.
Okay.
And I'm looking where the leak's coming from.
Right.
Let's find it. And then once I've identified that, I'll go to the roof.
Yeah.
Okay, and usually those are repairs, and so I'll estimate the repairs for them. But I'll tell them that as I'm coming back, before I get on the roof.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, now I'm going to go out here. I think I know where your leak is at. I'm going to go up here and inspect it. It could be something real simple.
Yeah.
We want to identify that first. When I get done with that, I'm going to be going to my truck and preparing an estimate for you.
Do you approach just straight replacement calls the same way? Do you get in the attic and on the roof and all that? Because I know a lot of roofing companies don't do that.
Yeah, I mean, especially if they have a leak. But we try to get in all our attics.
Yeah.
A good reason for that is you want to protect your company.
Sure.
So if I'm not getting in the roof, and let's say the supply company shows up out there and some of the framing wasn't right, they go loading the roof with shingles, and we do the roof job, and afterwards they're going, hey, there's a huge sag here, in my roof, and I go up there and there's broken rafters.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the broken rafters might have been a problem before they loaded the roof. Sure. And so if I can identify those things, I can tell the customer about them, and we can resolve some of those issues on the front end.
Absolutely. Now, I'm sure a big part of your process in doing this, taking lots of pictures or videos, stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Do you do video or just do pictures?
I mostly do pictures,
right?
Photographs, but some of the guys do, and it's not a bad tool to use.
Sure.
Here's your roof.
Right.
Anything that's going to stand you out from the other companies in your area.
Yeah, I bet when you those leak calls or someone's like, "Oh, it's just going to be a simple repair, right? This will be cheap," and you get in there and you go, "Oh my goodness, what is
exactly."
I mean, it's got to be shocking. You see maybe some mold or some, all this broken stuff. How do you then talk to someone and go, "Hey, Mrs. Jones, I'm sorry, but we got to look at you. This is more than maybe a simple repair." What's that conversation like?
I think what you have to be is truthful.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid of it.
Yeah.
People are people. Think if you were in their shoes and a professional comes into you and they're telling you the truth,
mm-hmm.
you're going to be able to tell that's the truth.
Yeah.
And if they're not, you're going to be able to see that pretty well.
Yeah.
Some guys are pretty good at hiding it, but I think honesty is just the best policy.
Right.
And telling them the truth and then sharing pictures with them and showing them, help them understand it if they know nothing about construction.
Yeah.
Here's the things that we can do, but you're going to need to do these things first. But like I say, you're helping them. The problem's not going to get any worse than it is now.
Yeah, for sure. So let's say, so maybe it's a repair call that they think is a repair call. And you go, oh boy, this is or maybe it's borderline, right? Maybe it's something that could be repaired, but maybe the roof's 8-9 years old, and then you want to do some replacement options. Will you build both out, some repair options?
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah,
and I might give them my opinion.
Yeah,
hey, you can, the back slope's gone.
Yeah,
okay, can't really identify a lot of damage here. The front chimney's leaking. Your roof is 18 years old. And where we live in the country, without really good ventilation, a 30-year roof, it's lucky to make it 15, 17 years.
Yeah.
And so, hey, we can fix this leak on your roof. It's going to be this much, but I'm going to be right back here probably within a year or two, and you're going to be replacing the whole thing. And that's going to be money down a hole, so it's really your choice. I'm here to give you options and to tell you where you're at.
Right.
But definitely got to fix this. But my advice would be, let's just go ahead and knock the thing out, because roofs aren't going to be any cheaper than they are right now.
Sure. Yep, that's right, because everything's just going up, right? Eggs and materials. Right. Before you get to the options, I should rewind a bit. And how do we, how do you differentiate yourself and Brown Boys talk about guarantees and again, differentiate yourself from all the other guys that could come behind you, right, if they don't want to buy that day. So
Sure.
how do you kind of sell yourself in the company at that point?
Well, for one, I do come from the insurance background, so I've met them all. Okay, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be working for this company if they weren't honest. They're going to be here tomorrow. They're going to be there next day. They're going to answer their phone. Okay, a lot of these guys won't. We have no fine print in our contracts, so that's a plus for us. And all my competition, they have all kinds of things in their contract that they don't cover, even if they damage it.
Yeah.
So we're the only company that I'm aware of that does a no leak guarantee. If we don't get it right, and we're going to make it right, but then we're going to fix the interior damage as well. And
That's got to be a big piece of money.
and I've seen it time and time again. We have our own crews that only work for us. We offer the best products. I can share those samples with people and show them this is where I'm leaning and why. So know your products really well. Know your products inside and out.
When you build your options, how many options do you like to give?
Typically, I'm giving them 3.
3 or place, 3 or 4. Okay. And how do they differentiate?
Generally, I'll have one that's a quality shingle that's black kind of quality of what they have. Okay, and then I'll have a little bit better quality shingles. Say like we'll go from an Owings Corning to a Malarkey, which they're made with different materials. Okay, so one's made with asphalt, and now the asphalt ones have come up so much that like the Malarkey shingle, which I laugh about the name, but they're made out of a polymer synthetic that actually flexes. So you're less likely to get hail damage in my area, where on average, about every 8 years, your house is going to get hit by hail.
Right.
And then I may step up from there to a class 3 impact shingle, which a lot of insurance companies will give you discounts for putting that on your house.
Sure.
And then some of the houses are curious about the impact 4.
Right.
So I can do all 4 of those, but usually I'm doing the 3.
Okay.
And then I'm taking you to my truck and show you the whys and whats, and then
it helps probably. You can feel what you're wanting.
oh sure, and you can look at it, and say, here's how they overlap, here's how big the nail line is, here's what they're talking about. And I use little books and illustrations, and you can, but touchy-feely, the difference between tearing, oh yeah, that's pretty cheap, oh that's better, that's 30-pound felt, and here's what we use synthetic. Oh wow, I can tear this.
Right.
It's just the products that we use.
Yeah. When you give them, do you write out the options, or are they on a computer, or what do I do?
Typically what I'll do with that is, once I've had my estimates built, is I will email a copy of that to the customer, and then I'll get out of my truck. I'm going back up to the house, tapping on the door, and then I try to go in and let's find a place we can sit at.
Okay, so you do like to sit out at that point. Okay, and then how does that conversation go?
Just casually.
Okay.
I wanted to confirm, number one, Tom, that you received the estimates.
Yeah.
I just emailed them to you, so I wanted to find out if you have those.
Okay.
Is there a place that we can go and sit down for a second?
Sure.
Because there's a lot of options, and I want you to understand the different systems I put together for you.
Okay. And when I look at those, how detailed? I mean, is it you've got everything that differentiates each one right listed there?
Well, I mean, it will tell you the shingles, and we've already been to my truck, and you've already seen the samples. You've already kind of gone through them, and so you know what you're getting.
Right. Now, is those prices, is it like a finance price on each one and the whole total price, or?
Well, I do the math, and I share just for legal reasons.
Yeah.
We have a line item in there where each one I'll quickly do a little calculation.
Yeah.
And I can type in there the approximate what the finance would be.
Right.
And all 3 of them will have different little financing. Like I say, most of the people I'm selling to, though, don't use financing.
Really?
Well, because they have $1,000 deductible or $2,000.
Well, yeah, on the insurance work, right?
Yeah, and
but if it is a retail job, what we call retail, we're not dealing with insurance.
Sure,
You'll have the full finance price come on.
Well, on every estimate that I do, there'll be a line item in there telling you if you would like to finance it.
Okay.
You can. And some people, I offer it to everyone. I'll talk about it with everyone.
Yeah.
Even with your deductible.
Okay.
You want to spread your deductible out for a year, we can do that.
Right. What's the most popular financing product you guys use for people that use it?
Right now, Service First.
What is it?
It's a
Same as your
6 months, 0%. No down payment.
Okay, very good. And do you get some of that where people want to stretch it out for 20 years, and you have something that long?
Well, but this one rolls over to, I think, a 6-year plan.
Okay.
So, basically, there's no interest for that first 6 months. There's no payment, nothing, and you can pay as much on it as you want.
Okay.
Okay, and then that will roll into like a $14.99 plan, and it's for quite a ways.
Sure.
Out there.
Sure. Now you brought up insurance, so let's go ahead and approach that a little bit. Let's talk about how much different a sales appointment is with insurance. I'm assuming you want to be there with the adjusters. Then.
Sure.
Right.
Well,
So
I'm there to help the adjuster. Those guys aren't, I guess, having come from that side.
Right.
Okay. I remember the first day I met Rich. I'll give you an example.
Okay.
Okay. Rich had been in the roofing business a long time. He meets me on this roof, and he's kind of being real confrontational.
By the way, Rich is a roofing coach with CertainPath that work for Brown Boys. For people watching and listening, who don't know who he is. Yeah, go ahead.
But anyway, he was just being real confrontational,
Yeah.
and just, kind of just, we'll leave it at confrontational.
Yeah.
Okay. And finally, I turned around to him. I said, dude, I'm not your enemy.
Yeah.
I'm here to do a job just like you.
Yeah.
I said, just point to things, and I'll be happy to help you learn anything about insurance you want to learn.
Yeah.
And I think once he figured out we're not enemies
Right.
anymore,
Right.
I think that's when he really started blossoming and did so good in what he did.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, when I hired in with Brown Boys after retiring, that's been 5 years ago.
Yeah.
He hired in about the same time I did.
Is that right?
Okay, both sales. And he said, "You don't remember me, do you?" And I said, "No."
Is that right?
And he brought that up to me.
Yeah.
And then even when he was teaching guys in roofing,
Yeah.
he would still use that
It
scenario.
was a memorable, career.
That we're not enemies, and so I'm there to help.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm already there before they get there. My ladder's already up. You want to use my ladder?
Right.
How can I help you?
That's great.
Do you want me to mark things for you or point things out, or you want me to get out of your way?
That's interesting.
You know,
When you first approached the adjuster, do you explain that you did? I mean, you don't want to be cocky that I did this for 20.
no, usually I don't. I mean, it's just, hey, I was an adjuster for a while.
Yeah.
If you want my help, tell me. If you want me to just get out of your way.
You will say casually, just so you know that.
Yeah.
I understand what you're going through, and I'm not here
Right.
to beat you up.
And so I'll have different ones. Some of them will get on the roof and they'll go, here's some chalk,
Yeah.
have at it.
Yeah.
So I'm helping them speed up their process,
Right.
and they appreciate it.
Right.
Uh,
How much contact do you have with the adjuster after that initial meeting? Because I know you guys don't like to be in the insurance businesses.
yeah, well, it does vary. I probably do it more than everyone else because I understand how to get the paperwork where and what they're dealing with. So anywhere I can help them,
Right.
I try.
Right. Right.
Because those relationships, sometimes they'll start asking people, every one of their customers. They'll say, hey, do you have a roofer? No, I don't have a roofer. What do you care if I call one and bring one out with me? They're a great company here in Northwest Arkansas.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they can really become your friends.
Right. You treat people the right way. That's
Sure.
be confident.
Yeah.
Right. That's interesting. So I know you said earlier there's a lot of instances, maybe all instances, where you guys are a little higher than what the insurance company will cover. So what is that conversation like that with the homeowner? Because you already quoted them, right? What you think the replacement options, what they're going to cost, to pay Brown, but sure, and all of a sudden it's $3,000 less. And I'll go, oh man, so what's that conversation like? I go, I thought this was going to cover everything.
Yeah. Well, Tom, did you saw the products that we use. Okay. You know our processes. We have crew supervisors. You said that's important to you. We have people on the ground picking up nails constantly. You said that's important to you. You don't want it flat after I'm gone. You like our warranties. You said that's that's important to you. Well, those things have value. Okay. And it costs us to operate the way we operate, but we're the best. And so how many times you do this in your lifetime?
Right.
Once, maybe twice. Right. Don't you want the best thing if you're just doing it once?
Yeah. And you can still finance that's $300.
Yeah, absolutely. We already talked about that. But from the time I get there till the time I leave, I'm trying to build value. And if I do a real good job at building value, they're going to buy from me.
Yeah. I like that you brought up supervisors. We didn't talk about that earlier. How do you sell the benefit of that to a homeowner? Like most homeowners don't know a thing about roofing, right?
Right.
So what's a supervisor? Don't all companies have those?
Well, sure. But, in the roofing business, generally you talk to a salesman one time. You get sign a contract, okay? They're going to order material, okay? And they're going to call a roofer. Roofer's going to come out. He's going to do the roof. Then they're going to come by, pick up their money. And then they're going to pay the roofer and pay the supplier and keep the rest. And it's as simple as that, okay? Not our company. Who's going to make sure it's nailed properly? Who's going to make sure that the products that we have in that estimate are actually going on your roof? Nobody's running off with any decking. These supervisors are taking pictures as we go. We'll have as many pictures of your roof being put together correctly. I like to leave our book, in with them while I'm there, and I just take that back. But it shows them features. I like to teach them about roofs just a little bit. Here's the flashing that we use, 26 gauge metal. Here's what the other guys use. Here's what you're going to get with them. Here's what you're getting with me.
Yeah.
And if you can build that value, no matter what company you're in, the money's not the problem. It's some people want a Corvette. Sure, they could go get them a Hyundai, but they understand cars. So if you help them understand whatever business you're in, if you help them understand, then they know what they really want.
Right.
It's just my job to teach them enough for them to make a choice. And then 9 times out of 10, they're going to make the best choice for them and their own finances.
Sure. You mentioned ventilation a little bit ago. How often do you see roofs that are not?
Probably 90% of them. New construction, it's kind of like builder grade carpet.
Yeah.
What are they going to do?
Right. So that helps differentiate yourself too, right? Like you should say,
sure,
Mrs. Jones, you just don't have enough ventilation. This roof is aging.
Yeah, that's at my truck too. When we're opening books, I'm like, hey, this ventilation's important. Has anybody else talked to you?
I was going to say, exactly.
And I use my books. I use different tools. And it depends on my time too, and their time.
Sure.
But if I have they have all the time, I have all the time, I'm doing the full thing where they really understand what they're getting.
Support for this podcast comes from Yellowstone Local. Are you a home service company struggling to find experienced employees to hire? Then you need to schedule a meeting with Yellowstone Local, the undisputed leader in helping home service companies build high-performing teams. Yellowstone Local doesn't just fill open positions, they shift your entire recruiting paradigm, changing your brand into a magnet for amazing people and helping you hire people that embody your vision, your drive, and your commitment to excellence. With an intentionally extensive approach, you'll have a partner that builds and executes the entire process for you, saving you time and money while getting the best results. So, in an industry where your product is your people, don't settle for less where it matters most. Visit YellowstoneLocal.com today and experience a different way to hire. For more information, contact Warren Lentz at 512-962-2638 or email warren@YellowstoneLocal.com.
I feel like in roofing especially, it's an industry where, I'm going to gather other bids, or, hey, here's a bunch of other bids I got. So how do you handle when someone goes, hey, here's all these other bids I got, and why are you so much more expensive?
Well, typically I'm going to go, wait. I don't want to look at those.
Okay.
I want to build my own thing. I have a survey here that I want to take with you.
Very good.
Where I know what you really need.
Right.
Okay. Once I know what you need, I'm going to go put together several things, and then I'll look through theirs. we can sit down together and look through all of them.
Yeah.
I can help you understand what they're offering, and I can help you see what I'm offering.
She'll go right through it and
Yeah.
say, well, they don't have this, and we're
And
no
it's not apples to this, and oh man, look at this. They're going to put a lien on your house. You know, by signing this contract, we can add any amount of money on the tail end of this, and you got to pay it.
Right.
You know, things like that.
Sure.
You know,
How do you handle the people that? Well, first of all, how many times it's like you do a lot of insurance, so there's multiple visits with insurance. It seems like, right? Or not as much.
sometimes, I mean, we all love the one contact close.
Yeah, I was going to ask. Yeah, how long are you able to close it on?
I mean, if they have their money,
yeah,
we're going to close them up.
that's great.
You know, they're either going to give me a no,
Yeah,
and you know, they obviously aren't. Those are the people like this.
yeah,
I'm not. All I see is a number. The roof's a roof's a roof,
yeah,
and they're not going to listen.
yeah,
But I'd say over half the people care enough about their house,
yeah.
especially if they're going to be there a while and forever home.
Right.
You know, they want the best,
Yeah.
and so they'll hear it.
How often do you deal with people that have their money already versus you're the first call and then they're going to call the insurance company? Is that pretty 50-50 or what is it?
Well, I have a lot of contacts. Okay, so now from my property managers and things, usually they're calling me and just, you know, head out. They've probably already talked with their insurance.
Okay.
But the insurance agents, a lot of times they're wanting me to save people from having a claim on the record. And so that's what I do for the agents is so I'll run a lot of appointments, and some of them have damage, some of them don't.
Yeah.
So the ones that don't, I explain it to them, hey, you don't have a problem, but I'm building relationships with them.
Right.
Quick story.
Yeah, go ahead.
Last week, 3.5 years ago, elderly woman's house. She lived alone at the time. I showed up, 3-tab roof, 4 shingles flapped up.
Yeah.
You know, I get up there, I use some GSL, I seal them all back down, get all her shingles done, came off the roof. And she said, what I owe you? I said, give me a hug. Okay.
Yeah.
Last week, she called me up. She says, I get to her house and her sister's now living with her, brother's across the street. She said, well, we decided it's time for us to put on a good roof.
Is that right?
And one contact closed.
Oh, I bet.
And just wrote me a cashier's check.
Oh.
You know, so
Yeah.
you know, and
Treat people the right way.
didn't question anything, wasn't looking to another roofer. So build those relationships with you.
Yeah, that's awesome. Just a couple more with these. I got to ask the objection of, I just need to think about it, Brad. This is a lot of money for me, you know, especially, you know, even if insurance is going to cover all but a couple thousand, I don't have a couple. So how do you handle people that go, I just need some time? Will you kind of walk away and give them 20 minutes, or you just go, okay, I'll give you a call tomorrow? What's your approach?
Typically, I'm going to, if it's real clear to me.
Yeah.
Now, if it's just more of an excuse, I might try a little harder.
Yeah.
Say, well, what have I not told you so far that, you know, or I might message them a little bit, you know, get quieter and say, you know, talk to them that way with some empathy. You know, it sounds like you're still uncomfortable with this. I mean, you know that this is a decision that you have to make. And it just appears to me that you're still a little scared of pulling the trigger. So can you help me understand that? And we might have those types of conversations to try and pull it out.
Right. You kind of circle back to what makes brown boys
That's right.
so much better.
And so then, like, what have I not told you, you know, because I feel like if I did my job, you're ready to do it. You know, no matter what, you've got to do it.
Right.
Okay. So waiting a day or two isn't going to change the decision you need to make.
Sure.
But now if they're just hardcore flat, I want them, you know, if they're that personality that I know, okay, I need to give them their couple of days.
Yeah.
I've already built the value with them.
Okay.
They need to soak it in and research it. I may give them a pamphlet and say, hey, that's great.
Yeah.
Would it be okay if I follow up with you 2 days from now?
Okay. So you set the expectation. Is it okay if I call you in 2 days?
Sure.
And I'm sure everyone says, of course, right?
Right.
Do you get, what percentage of people are you able to get a hold of? Quite a few? They'll answer it? Okay.
Yeah. Typically, you know, they know it's me calling.
Right.
And so I'll I'll circle back to them. That's why I said the Job Nimbus.
That's right. You said,
The program we have at Job Nimbus is I'm putting a note in the file every time. As soon as I'm out in my car and I'm writing my estimate and everything, I'm typing up a note.
yeah,
Okay. If I close the deal, I'm typing a note. And it sends different messages to different people in our production, in our administrative areas. So it's a really great program for companies that aren't using it.
sure.
And so anybody, they can take a phone at the office, they pull it up and they can see right where I'm at. They can answer questions
Right.
without having to call me.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just better service for our customers.
Sure.
And so that's what I use a lot, but I'll set that note. If I've told him 2 days from now, I set a task for myself 2 days from now.
Right.
Then early in the morning, like I mentioned, I'm looking at those and when am I going to call these people in between my appointments?
And what do you say? You go, how do you, what's that for?
Call them up. Hey, Tom, have you had a chance to look through all the information and determine that we're the best thing for you?
Yeah.
Have you had a chance?
Yeah.
Just give those positive notes. And, even if a lot of times, even if they hadn't,
Yeah.
you're the only guy calling them back.
Right. Right.
And then I make that phone call back and they go, yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Yeah. They just need the time to think about it.
Sure.
Sometimes. How many times will you call someone for you? Okay, this is just lost.
I don't think that way anymore.
Is that right?
I used to.
Yeah.
I used to. And I used to really fret over how our prices,
Yeah.
man, everybody out there is $1,500 less than me.
Yeah.
How do I convince people, why are they going to buy from me? They can buy this. And then I finally learned, well, it costs what it costs.
Yeah.
And you get what you get.
Yeah.
And once I turned that bridge and realized that I'm doing the best thing for people, I'm offering them the best thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't change the cost.
Right.
But it's the best thing, and it's the best thing for them, so I know I'm doing the right thing.
Right.
And I think that's the kind of confidence you have to carry into it. And if you do that, it makes people more confident that they're getting what they pay for.
Right. What was the breakthrough? What made you change your that stinking thinking?
I don't know. I think what it was is when I first came out of insurance, I was so used to, I didn't get phone calls from roofers.
Right.
I mean, I'd write a check and people, paid. And I think most companies in my area anyway were right in line with insurance. But as the market has changed, and it's really the things that we've done to build a company that we know we're giving you the best product.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of people in place that other companies don't have. And it's more business than it is just what we call chucking a truck.
Right. Sure. Absolutely. That's a term we've used for many years. I get
Staying in a van.
There's all sorts of good ones.
Yeah.
All right. So you get me, I go, okay, I'm signing with you. I trust you, trust Brown Boys. I sign that contract. How fast can you typically get a roof on for me if I buy from you that day?
It varies.
Yeah.
It varies depending on the weather that we've had.
Sure.
Normally if the supplier has it on the yard, we're probably from contract to on the roof in 3 to 4 weeks.
Now, how do you avoid a cancellation? Chucking a truck said, "Oh, I get that up there," and tomorrow, just as he's got a leftovers.
I like to tell people, well, okay, I guess I blame it on myself. I guess I didn't do a very good job of explaining value to you. Just don't be embarrassed, Tom, to call me 3 or 4 years from now when it's coming off.
So you'll be blunt right there.
Yeah, and I'm polite.
Polite.
If you've made your decision, you've made your decision. Hey, and it's your decision.
Yeah.
It's not on me. I mean, sometimes I feel kind of like I didn't do a good job, and I'll take notes. How could I change that?
Sure. It's a training rule.
But most of the time you run into some people that no matter what you say, they're going to find the cheapest thing out there. I don't want to pay my deductible.
Yeah.
And some of them will say that on the front end.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the guys that either get the hat trick or I just don't give them an estimate.
I was going to say.
I don't waste my time.
How do you handle that? You just kind of walk away and go, maybe it's just not for you?
I say, well, if you're looking for the cheapest bid, number one is it's fraud to do what you're asking me to do, so I'm not going to do that. And I can already tell you right now because how we run our business, that I'm going to be one of the higher guys.
Yeah.
So you don't even need an estimate from me,
Is that right?
you know? And then I'll walk away and some of them will go, well, wait, what, you know?
Yeah.
And some of those I'll give my time to, and other ones will go, well, all right.
Yeah.
When I didn't waste my time.
Right. That's all right. You know, because most people tend to be headaches anyway. For extra the rest of it, you know, it's just how it is, right? All right. So you know, you're scheduled. I'm scheduled for 3 weeks. How much contact do you have with the homeowner at that point, or is it all production, or how much are you talking to production to get that project going? What's the
Once I turn it in, there's not a lot of contact from me because they know in about 3 weeks they're going to get a phone call from our production department. It's going to tell them when the roof's going to be loaded.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and we have a sheet that I go through with them, just what to expect.
right?
We run through that whole form where they know
That's great.
who's going to call it.
So they have that understanding.
That's right. So they already have all those understandings, and they've signed them. I've sent them copies. I do like to run by while the job's happening.
Okay, I was going to ask. Yeah.
Okay, and those are things that I plan that morning because the job Nimbus will notify me what's happening.
Yeah.
And that job's coming up. It'll bling, okay, we're getting ready to load this, you know, or bling, we're fixing to work on this. So I know what day they're there.
Yeah.
And so those are other things that I throw in with my phone calls in between my appointments.
You just check in to see what's going on, or do you actually say hello?
Well, I'm doing two things. I'm saying hi,
Yeah.
you know, but more importantly than that, I'm going to the neighbors.
Oh.
I go to this house, I go to this house, I go across the street to those 3 houses.
Yeah.
If anybody's home, hey, we're putting on a roof over here. They had hail damage to the roof. I want you to have my card. If you get any trash in your yard, or if they park somewhere they shouldn't, or anything like that, just want you to have a contact, and we'll take care of it.
Right. So you're putting it as a value. I'm here to help you, not just, hey,
I'm not
I
trying to
was
sell them
me.
a roof. I'm amazed at how many of them, if they're home, I just tell them they had hail damage,
Yeah.
and then, but I'm over here to make sure that we don't cause you any problems.
Right.
Here's my card. And they'll go, they had hail damage?
Oh yeah.
Say, well, yeah, they did. He goes, will you check my roof? Certainly can.
I'll make time for you. Okay, very good. Now, do you collect the second check then? Do you come back?
No, our company handles.
That's great.
That's what I'm saying. We have our production. We have a final inspector.
Yeah. That's all right to make sure it's.
So we have a quality control inspector,
That's great.
and I've already talked to them about that.
And that's the other value, right? When you have someone come.
That's right. After everything's done, and we've taken all the pictures, trying to make sure it's nailed on perfectly, and you got everything we wanted you to have that we've discussed, and you've seen the products.
Yeah.
Okay, he's going to come out. He's going to look for a nail.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to try and find a nail in your yard.
Yeah.
He's going to lift the shingles. He's going to look for any overshot nails. He's going to look at your gutter and your HVC and your flower beds and everything, make sure we didn't damage anything. And also, he'll be collecting that final check.
That's great.
So that's all covered with them on the front.
Yeah. One great value to. I mean, just total reassurance.
And it frees the salesman up where we can be more productive.
Right. And I bet that eliminates a lot of callbacks, a lot of.
Oh yeah.
And then, there's no nasty phone calls.
Like I say, when I started almost 5 years ago, we were 9 people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We had one guy that was our production department.
Right.
And he's trying to run the show for 3 salesmen.
Right.
And all of them crowned champion salesmen.
Yeah.
So
That's correct.
and yeah, the business, man, half the phone calls they got were questions.
Sure.
Complaints, just so many things. And now we have supervisors there. We have final quality control. We have our offices. We have Job Nimbus. We have all those things that we put in place. So
It's a business.
it's a smoother running operation. We're getting better every day.
That's great.
We're not quite there yet.
Yeah, you can always get better in every way.
Amen.
Just a couple wrap-up questions. Brett, what motivates you? You said you retired from insurance. Why are you still grinding every day? What motivates you to do a great job every day? What is?
I don't know. Insurance is opposite. I was constant studies, but I was always in the middle. I was the middle man. Got the contractors yelling and cursing me, and I got the people who believe the contractor, who's a crook, cussing me. And so I was always in between. Then I got State Farm yelling at me and had all those bricks. And, I took a couple months off, but I like to be busy.
Yeah.
And then Bill called me and it's just been a blessing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the funnest thing I've ever done.
Yeah. Because that keeps you so upbeat every day, even in those long summers or right after a big storm. And
Absolutely. It's just, like I say, the company I'm with has made it easy. And then the people I work with and, the competitive spirit that we have, so as long as I can do it, I'm going to be doing it.
Yeah. You never thought you'd be fighting over a wrestling belt, huh?
Exactly.
All right. Well, very last question. You're at Expo. We're at Expo right now. You're gonna meet a lot. You meet a lot of great other salespeople, roofing salespeople. What advice would you give a young or hungry salesperson in the roofing industry? What advice would you give him or her in order to get to your level as a crown champion?
I would say pray, determined, truthful, all those things, and don't let fear get in your way.
Mm-hmm. Very good.
Fear is the thing I think that stops most younger people from really achieving. Mm-hmm. And it hits all of us at some point. There's going to be that conversation that you avoid calling. Attack that first.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'd tell them. Attack that one first, and grow.
Yeah, get through it, grow, and
it'll grow.
Yeah. Well, excellent, Brad. Well, this was really fun. Thank you for coming a little early to sit with me. I appreciate. I know you basically got off an airplane, but you did a great job. I really enjoyed this.
Well, I certainly did too, Bob.
Awesome. All right, thank you, sir. Have a great rest of your day.
All right, thank you.
Support for this podcast comes from Pulse M and Customer Lobby. Successful CertainPath members like you know the value of thinking like a customer. We've got the tools to help you do just that. Enter Pulse M Plus, combining the power of Pulse M and Customer Lobby to enhance your customer journey by creating value at every touch point. We've helped hundreds of CertainPath members like you win and retain more business. Pulse M Plus utilizes Pulse M's industry-leading reputation management capabilities to help you build out the early stages in your customer's journey and maximize your online reputation through Google reviews. Then, Pulse M Plus keeps your customers coming back by incorporating Customer Lobby's powerful retention platform, using postcards, emails, and text messages to send the right message at the right time to encourage repeat business. And as a CertainPath member, we will waive your setup fees. For more information, please visit get.pulsem.me/pm-plus-CertainPath. The Successful Contractor Podcast is part of the CertainPath family. CertainPath builds successful home service businesses and has for 23 years. We do it by providing contractors with a proven path to success, professional coaching, software solutions, and a member community of over 1,000 contractors just like you. Doubling your sales with a 20% net profit and an inspiring company culture is all possible. Let us show you the way. With CertainPath, success is made certain. Visit www.mycertainpath.com for more information.